Hello, y'all, and welcome to another week's episode. I'm one of your co-hosts, Specialist Garrett Dacko with 11th Signal Brigade.
And I'm one of your other co-hosts, Eric Franklin, with the Fort Hood Public Affairs Office.
And I am your last co-host, Samantha Farlow, with the Garrison Public Affairs Office, and you were listening to Fort Hood's
Great Big Podcast.
All right, welcome back. With us, we have two very special guests. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Major Winkleman with Force Protection.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Nia Payne. I'm an operations specialist with the Force Protection Office.
All right, Force Protection Office. What is it exactly you guys do over there?
Well, for us in the Force Protection, we primarily focus on a lot of the anti-terrorism that's going on the base, as well as we try to mitigate the potential threats that we have or that potentially could arise.
Okay. And with anti-terrorism, how do we combat that here on base?
Well, practice makes perfect, if you will. So we get the education out to everybody. We do training, formal, informal training. We have the AT Awareness Month coming up in August, and that's going to target all audiences, not just military, your family members, your civilians, and contractors that work on the installation.
With you guys make sure that everyone understands how to prepare themselves or how to defend against terrorism. So, quick question: is what you guys do? How in line is it? How far would it be to say it's like the Americans? It was a spy show a couple years ago. How they try to infiltrate the government, basically. So tell us a little bit about what you guys are helping us to defend against.
Well, for us, what we tend to try to do is we get resources, information if there are credible threats within the area, and as well as we try to prepare for them in advance. We are fortunate where we all come together collectively, so there's a bunch of anti-terrorist officers located on base. So we come together once a month and we discuss the issues that may arise. We also have, like, if you see at the gate, there's times where the military police are doing random vehicle inspections and things like that. So those are the RAMs, the anti-terrorism measures. So we like to implement those from the top all the way down to the lowest levels, so everybody is aware, as well as putting our messaging out.
So you mentioned something about the gates. So sometimes when I come to the gate, I know some people may come to the gate and they may see I think it's FCON Bravo or FCON Charlie. Tell me a little bit about what that is and how people should, what that means for those people coming through the gates.
So with each FPCON, which is Force Protection.
FPCON, sorry.
FPCON. So with each level, the level of measures increase. So whereas you may just have your card scanned at the gate as you come in through the gate, as we increase in those different levels, it might be a full vehicle inspection. Everybody in the vehicles may be inspected, or, just things outside the ordinary.
And there's times where we have what they call the Trusted Traveler Program, where just the driver only has to present their ID, and that's where Ms. Payne was talking about, as far as we could be at that easier state and then increase our force protection measures to, again, like she's reiterate what she said, to ID everybody aboard, as well as conduct inspections within the vehicles or searches.
Okay. And so how can someone, from the top level all the way down to the bottom level, including me as a specialist, kind of help in the anti-terrorism kind of sector on base?
For that, it goes that we always kind of reiterate is, if you see something, say something. And that's a theme that we continue to reiterate, because and I always like to say, is it's better to say something and be wrong than not say something and be wrong.
Right.
So, every day if something looks out of place, we all have that norm that, you don't normally see something there, or you continually see certain individuals in a parking lot or by a building, or trying to access buildings where you're not supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So you as a specialist, to me as a major, a sergeant, whatever rank, civilian, DOD, we all work in our areas, and I would encourage everybody to be watchful and mindful of the things that are happening around us.
And, you know, maybe you can kind of speak to this, but I know anti-terrorism is not I think when people think about anti-terrorism, they're thinking, oh, someone's coming to get us, or someone's trying to shoot us or do bad things. Mm-hmm. But anti-terrorism covers you stealing information, or you stealing just, I don't want to say, stealing information.
That runs
trade secrets.
Yeah, that runs along the line of insider threats. So those all fold within anti-terrorism. So again, an insider threat could be someone, like you said, trying to access files, listen in on conversations. And again, it comes also as far as the things we put out on Facebook. Mm-hmm. You can put pieces together from what you or I, and all of us are in the same unit, are putting on all our Facebooks. And that's something we got to be aware of, is that the enemy's always watching us, and they work hard to put the puzzles together.
Right.
You had mentioned something. You said when people are always looking on Facebook. I came in the Army in a time when we had posters that I don't see as much anymore, but we would have the loose lips sink ships, and all of those. I used to think those were the best posters, because it's like, oh, okay, yeah. And then you go down range or somewhere, or you're in Iraq or Afghanistan, and you see them, it's like, oh man, let me not say this. Let me not tell my girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever back home. So it just, that was something that you said. It's like, you know, especially with Facebook being the new echo space that everyone's living in, we're always being watched by someone. And it may not even be, it may be someone who you know, who's sitting back, oh, my friend's stationed at Fort Hood is getting ready to go do X, Y, Z in wherever. So,
and that's one of the big things is shared comments, liked comments will generate on somebody else's page as well. So what you say has a ripple effect, and you may not know how far out your words and your messaging is reaching. I can say from my point of view is, you know, try to monitor those people that you have as your friends, but I can't control what my friends have as friends.
True. Agreed. And as we discussed earlier, that the pieces of the puzzle, so I may say something and then a friend of a friend ad-libs off of that. And again, that person that's trying to infiltrate or be malicious, they'll take those pieces of the puzzle and form the big picture. And the big picture is what we're trying to mitigate people from having, the people that don't need to know.
So next month is Antiterrorism Month, right?
August.
I'm thinking it's July.
Almost.
I'm already. It's so hot outside. I'm wanting it to be July, so then that way it's August, so then it's gonna start cooling down.
Football season as well.
That too. Because we're at that time when there's nothing on TV to watch. But so with Antiterrorism Month being in August, what are some of the type of activities or the type of things that you guys are going to start pushing out to promote that, so soldiers at all levels can get involved?
Well, throughout the month of August, we have a series of seminars. So every Wednesday, we're going to host a seminar via MS Teams or in person at the House Auditorium. And you're going to have subject matter experts from the intel community and other entities that tie into Force Protection AT. And they're going to give briefings. One of them is the basic anti-level awareness training. What to be cautious of, how you can be, everybody's an ATO, an anti-terrorism officer, as we look at it. Mm-hmm. So the more information we put out, the better prepared people are, and then they can pass on to that information to people that are not aware of what that anti-terrorism theme is.
So let's say I'm a new soldier and just got to my unit, and I'm still unfamiliar with, you know, who's who down there, but I know or I listen to this podcast and I know, like, oh, there are people out there, anti-terrorism officers or people that can brief on this. Is there any way that you guys could go down to the unit level and do those briefs? Are you guys involved with that at any level?
We provide a lot of the information to the ATOs.
Okay.
Yeah, we've actually got a Teams channel we put together as well, where we have
cool.
a lot of the resources and information. So each brigade, battalion, company, they all have their own ATOs, anti-terrorism officers. So it's easy for them to get that information from them as well. However, if in the event they can reach up to us, and I know Mr. Haig, who's also one of the ATOs up for us, he has on a rare occasion had to give out a class, an AT level 1 class, but we can also provide the materials if anybody needs anything.
Okay. And then we were talking about a lot of like the insider threats. And so it sounds to me like OPSEC is a huge part of anti-terrorism.
Yes, and there will be an OPSEC brief during the AT Awareness Month seminars. So the lead the OPSEC officer for the Garrison, he will be given a series of courses on OPSEC.
Okay.
So just and real quick, why is OPSEC? Well, I think a lot of soldiers or a lot of people may hear, oh, you got to practice OPSEC all the time. Practice OPSEC. Can you try to give us an idea of why it's important to practice OPSEC? Because I know, again, Private Franklin coming out of basic training, this was a long time ago when I came out of basic, but Private Franklin coming out of basic training, I had no idea what OPSEC was. I knew then, well, I now know that small things like an alert roster, that's an OPSEC. Like I could have that, and if I leave that out somewhere, that can get us in trouble. That can get us not necessarily in trouble, but they can get us hurt because I've just given out a complete roster of a unit. So can you just tell us if you had the simplest way to say what OPSEC is?
I would have to say that if it has anything to do with your work movement, personnel, strategies, or anything like that, should absolutely be kept, out of public domain. And again, it goes back to like Facebook or Snapchat or whatever social media forum you use. Simply saying I'm leaving on this date gives a little bit of that information away. So again, the enemy is always watching, and they're always listening, and they're waiting, and they have time. And that's something that we day to day really don't think about is that they can wait us out and find the opportunity that they want. So again, like you said, keep those alert rosters, those movement times, how many packs are going, where you're going. And I understand, and everybody understands, they want to keep their family informed of where they're going, what they're doing, as well as their friends. But it's always best to try to restrict a lot of the information that you provide.
So make sure you're up to date on those annual online trainings, right?
Those are
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, that seem to change every month. That you got to keep taking.
I think some people, they look at it, they look at the training, it's like, oh, I don't need this training. But at the same time, I think people, when a situation comes up, they're like, I remember this. I sat through a PowerPoint about this. Let me not do it. That's how I think. In the moment, I think I get overwhelmed with the classes, but then it comes back like, nope, we're not supposed to say that.
Absolutely, and I think that's where it's the muscle memory. I mean, you go through the classes, and some people are just hitting next, but you are absorbing. You do them annually, or you do them every 6 months. So you are absorbing the information. So it will be available when and if the time comes, and that's why. Part of the reason why it's always pushed, part of the reasons why we do the RAMs, again, is to keep us in good form practice and being on alert, as well as from the outside looking in if they don't know when or what we're doing. So those are all part of it.
And another question I had is if people do see something around base that they think is kind of like, out of the ordinary or something, is there somewhere they can go to report that, somewhere easy?
So there is a number on the installation, 288 COPS. They could call that, report what they saw, and then that information will be up-channeled to the right authorities to investigate.
And so with that, that's not saying call 911. That's a number that's dedicated to inquiries about suspicious activities.
Yes, correct.
So I do have a question. What is your original MOS, sir?
I'm an MP.
An MP? So you just kind of like shifted a little bit into this position.
The force protection position, yes. Okay. So this still kind of falls along the lines of enforcement and things like that. So it was I'm going to say it's an easy fit, was a natural slide into this position.
And how long have you been doing on the anti-terrorism, the intel side of it?
I've been at this for a year.
Okay. And for you, Mel?
I'm going on month 4, so I transitioned from the security side, doing personnel security verifications and checks. And so I joined the AT team back in February. So I'm new into the fold, but excited, love the job. You're helping people, you're helping the community, and it's probably AT is one of our greatest defense in protecting the installation.
And so with both you guys coming from both you guys coming from similar backgrounds, but now you have a more singular focus. How do you think that you guys' background helps brings more to the table and helps expound on what's there for you guys?
For me, I'd have to say, as far as like the random being, because I was prior enlisted before, being an MP out there, conducting the vehicle searches in the random, so that I was on the ground and I've done that, to now understanding what it is really like. Instead of being a policymaker, I've been affected by knowing what anti-terrorism is and things like that. And some of us older people were here during September 11th when a lot of us didn't know how to secure the base because that wasn't a real threat until that day happened. So for me, I was able to transition a lot of that to now, towards the end of my career, being able to relate and understand what it is that is actually going on the ground.
And speaking of September 11th, I think only 2 of us were in the military or old enough to really remember that.
I was about you got 3.
Okay, we got 3 of us.
Yeah.
But not to make light of it, but I remember before that day, just in Fort Hood, I remember before then, it was open. You could come and go on Fort Hood as you pleased. But then after that, everything changed. And I think more people, I remember as far as training goes, it was more serious because it's like, oh wow, this happened. How can we protect our buildings? And that brings me to my next thing, like the recruiting offices. Those are government facilities, but they're not on the installation. How does anti-terrorism go to help those professionals that work off post?
So for us, what those are considered standalone facilities, as well as like their standalone events. So not only are those people who are off post, those buildings that belong to the United States government, but also events that we may have at the Civic Center are also considered like standalone events. So typically what we'd have to do is, obviously they're going to fall under the force protection for who they're assigned, as well as have mitigations for potential threats. And obviously, since they're out in town, they're a little bit more exposed. They will receive their threat reports through their levels and their channels and their chain of command.
As he was saying, that they also, we do assessments on those areas. So if there's a credible threat in that area where a recruiting station is, we will notify them to implement the proper controls to mitigate from an attack of some sort taking place.
So it's a lot of backdoor behind the closed door that you guys do, and it makes it look easy because we don't see anything. We don't have a need like, oh yeah, we have to have this anti-terrorism briefing. It's like, don't worry about it, we have it. All you have to do is go have fun or go put new soldiers or airmen or space cadets. What is it?
I think that's
space
right.
soldiers.
There we go.
Space Force?
Space Force, yes. But put more people in the military is what I'm getting at. No offense to anyone who is in the Space Force out there who's listening to this. I will follow up and find out what it's called.
So might I add that part of that that people don't notice with standalone facilities is how many times do you have to walk from a parking lot to a building, and that standoff distance, and those are things you may not be aware of, but a lot of these things are done on purpose. So there are no more after. Timothy McVeigh parked right up to the parking lot, right up to the front doors with the Ryder truck. So we have had to put in standoff space, or if you've noticed a huge pot of plants, and that's not there by accident. Those are all part of the force protection measures and to help secure the facilities.
What would you with the force protection and anti-terrorism? What can family members do? Because they're part of that military life as well, and what they say, they may think like, oh, okay, it's not my husband's account, it's not my wife's account, it's my account, or I'm not telling anything specific. What can family members do to practice safe anti-terrorism?
Just as we encourage the military members, don't share information, and it is hard to say that you don't have those discussions with your military spouse. I mean, you do. But just being mindful of who you're speaking to. If it's someone not affiliated with the organization or with the installation, I would advise that they don't share that information because you don't know who that person is and what their intent is with the information that you pass along.
I'd like to add that we receive the classes and all the instructions. And the question is how many of us take that home and speak to our families about it? You know, we are trained and we were educated, but I was talking to Mr. Haig and Ms. Payne last month when we were going through active shooters and all that. And we don't go home and educate our family on what we should do or what we should look out for. I'm at fault for that as well. So the best thing is learn the information and go home and share it and let your family know, your son or your daughter, your spouse also is going to post, my dad's leaving, they're getting deployed. So again, be cautious of the information we're putting out. OPSEC, like you said.
There's a lot out there on social media too. We got to be careful about that. So one last question I had was the August events going on. Are military spouses or dependents allowed to go to those events as well?
Yes. So what we've done, we've generated an MS Teams link. We've sent it to all the ATOs, and we've encouraged them to push it out to everybody within their organization and share it with their family members. We'll also be doing an in-person seminar at the House Auditorium. I don't have those dates, so there'll be 2 dates where we're physically in the auditorium, and they're welcome to attend too to get that information if it's not being passed on by their military sponsor.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Well, I just wanted to thank y'all for coming in and talking to us today. Is there anything else y'all wanted to add before you head out?
Until next time.
Until next time.
Until next time, we will be waiting.
As always. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
If you've got problems and feel like you just can't get answers, there's a place for you to turn. The Inspector General's Hotline. They take your issues seriously. If you're at the end of your rope and need someone to reach out to, grab a pen and take down this number. 254-287-7209. That's 254-287-7209. The Fort Hood office of the Inspector General. They inspect generals, so you don't have to.
We just got done talking with 2 great anti-terrorism professionals that work here in the Third Armored Corps. Sorry,
Yeah.
and it was great. It was good information. I think a lot of people have been. I think a lot of people just don't really understand what anti-terrorism is. Did you know? I know you know.
I know a good amount. Well, let me take that back. I know a fair amount.
Enough to be dangerous.
Enough to be dangerous. Enough to be lethal. But I know a little bit more than the average Joe. We took OPSEC level 2 as public affairs, and so I'm a little more versed in that kind of world of anti-terrorism. I've retained a little bit over the years, and like they were saying, repetition. So
Yeah.
it's definitely helped.
Yeah, I will say as a civilian who had no prior anything before this job, I didn't know anything about it. And then I had to do the OPSEC level 2 as well. So I feel like I know so much. So I sometimes will walk around in my day-to-day life and be like, oh, that's an OPSEC violation. You shouldn't be saying that.
I notice. I catch
PII
myself
right
sometimes.
there.
I'm texting and I'm
You're
ooh, delete.
Can't say that.
You gotta watch it.
Ooh, yeah, I'll tell you in person.
Just text that instead.
Yes.
I'll tell you in person.
Tell you in person.
Make it mysterious.
That's right.
Yes, just make them wait.
Ooh.
So I think what else this week has been, it's going by pretty fast. At the end of this week, we have Freedom Fest coming up.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Are you looking forward to
Friday.
going to that? Are you going? Are you
You
hanging out?
gotta fill me in on what it is.
So, depending upon who you ask, some people say the Freedom Fest, it's a standalone thing. It's just a fest that Fort Hood started that they wanted 15 years ago. I only know this because I interviewed them.
Wow.
But it originally aligned with Independence Day, but then as it's changed, the Fort Hood family, MWR, decided that they just wanted to be able to give an event and put on an event for the public and give the public more options to do. That's why it's on the 24th instead of the 4th of July, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, why is it on the not on the 4th of July? It's like it's an event for the 4th of July, but they just want to share it early so people can go out and do more things than just one thing. So they make that one choice. If you come to Fort Hood, if you've ever been to Freedom Fest, once you're there, that's it. You're there for the remainder of your day. Like there's no like, oh, I'm going to go run out somewhere and come right back. No, no, it's 3 hours. So when I spoke with them, they said, hey, we changed the date because we want to be able to give the Central Texas community more opportunities to go out and see more of the beautiful Central Texas.
Yeah, I'm excited that they're having it early because I was not here last year for the 4th of July. I was on vacation, and I'll be actually going on vacation again, but I'll be here for the 24th.
So you'll be here
I get
for
to go to
Freedom Fest.
Freedom
There you go.
Fest. Yeah.
All right.
It worked out
So
great
what
for
I'm
me.
hearing is there's something going on July 4th that takes Sam away from work.
Yes, there is. I can't share what it is, though.
Probably like a,
It's OPSAC.
yeah.
That's right.
You see how that goes.
Can't give away that information.
No, it's
See how we set that one up.
secret.
Also,
Love
this
a
summer,
secret.
it's the summer's just started. Actually,
Today?
So, today, right?
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, the day we were recording.
the
Yes.
day of Tuesday, the
Tuesday.
21st.
Yes.
So
Summer solstice.
that means it's the longest day. So that means the sun's going to be up a little bit longer than what it will be for the rest of the summer.
Yeah.
Still, if you look outside at 9 o'clock and the sun's up, it's still too hot.
Yeah.
So
Really hot here.
yeah.
Ooh.
And just with that, even if you're not in the Central Texas area, make sure that you're drinking water and staying hydrated because
Oh yeah.
you need water to live. You need
do
it.
need
Like,
water.
it's important. Like so,
You should
make
also
sure.
wear sunscreen.
Yes.
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 So coming from someone that's pasty white skinned, yes,
Yes.
wear sunscreen.
And if you have a tan already, like me, make sure you still wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
It still helps.
It's
Trust
important.
me. It's very
You
important.
always need to wear sunscreen.
Look, we just talked about anti-terrorism. We could have a whole segment on melanoma. That's all I'm
True.
saying.
Yeah.
Skin cancer.
We should
Yeah.
do that.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Summer's here.
It
It's
is.
hot.
It is.
So be careful out there.
And that's it. I think really only other thing that's important today is who was it? Someone retired in football today too, I think, who said they retired, but I don't know. You got to look at it at his running partner to see if he's going to actually stay retired this year.
I don't think he is.
You don't think he's going to stay
He
retired?
retired and comes back and then retires and comes back. Come on.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Gronk?
Oh,
Gronk.
I don't
Yes.
know.
Rob
Okay.
Gronkowski.
Yeah, Rob
Tight end
Gronkowski.
for the Patriots for years.
Yes.
Okay,
and
thank you.
then went over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with his old running buddy, Tom Brady.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
That's the name I know.
Tom Brady retired, then he was retired for like
A week.
a week and a half or so.
Oh, I
and then it's like-
saw that.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
So, but I think this year, I think football is going to be great. We're getting into that spot of the year where there's no sports, no major sports. There's
Baseball's on.
well, yeah, well, almost.
He said
after-
no major sport. I'm kidding.
No, see,
Slam on
kidding.
baseball.
I love baseball.
I love baseball.
Please don't at me.
Go Stros. But it's almost at that time where there's only like a 3-week time period where there's nothing really good on, no sports on TV,
Right.
unless you like bowling or ice hockey
Or golf.
or golf.
Oh,
golf,
golf.
definitely
Yeah.
golf. But so make sure you get out and you stay hydrated and just enjoy the summer. Go out, don't put your phones down, put everything down, and just except for listening to this podcast.
Well,
Of
yeah.
course.
But put your phones down, go out and enjoy the summer, and do some amazing things.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then come back when football season starts. We'll have more to say.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, can't wait.
I can.
We might have to start our own podcast for
Yes,
that.
we might.
We'll have a segment dedicated to that for you guys on the show.
Oh, that'd be good. We might have to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Look forward to that. We might
yeah.
start that when football season starts back up.
Love that.
That's all we have this
Yeah.
week. Unless anything changes exciting, I don't think it will. But hey, we hope everyone has a great week and stay out of trouble.
Yes.
Stay hydrated.
Yes.
And
We'll see you at Freedom Fest.
yeah, we will. Oh,
Freedom
we will.
Fest.
And I'll be waiting to take pictures.
All right.
This podcast is a U.S. Army Garrison Fort Hood and Fort Hood Public Affairs production. The show's theme music is written and produced by Delicious All Stars. All our music is obtained through Filter by Song Trader. Have a question or want to share some insights with us? Email us at forthoodpao@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at USAG Fort Hood. And as always, be sure to leave a review and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.